operate the rope of liberation, a formless field of merit. Wrapping ourselves in Buddha's teaching, we free all living beings. And though I thus liberate countless beings, not a single being is liberated.
Incense chat.
Precepts incense, liberation of views incense, cloud of lighted incense pouring into the Dharma realms. Offering to the highest teachers of the 10 directions, I respectfully bow to the altar of the incense cloud. Bodhisattva.
Chant of compassion. We surround all forms of life with infinite love and compassion. Especially do we send out compassionate thoughts to those in suffering and sorrow, to those in doubt and ignorance, to all who are striving to attain truth, and to those whose feet stand close to the great change called death. We send forth all wisdom, mercy, and love. May the infinite light of wisdom and compassion so shine within us, that the errors and vanities of self may be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence, and awaken into spiritual peace. The refuges.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha. The 5 precepts.
I take up the practice of not harming living beings.
I take up the practice of not harming living beings.
I will not take what is not offered.
I will not take what is not offered.
I will not misuse sexuality or sensuality.
I will not misuse sexuality or sensuality.
I will practice gentle, truthful speech.
I will practice gentle, truthful speech.
I will not deal in nor misuse intoxicants.
I will not deal in nor misuse intoxicants. The Buddha Sarangamagata. True nature is free from all phenomena, which are illusions by causes created. Knowledge neither rise nor fall, but all phenomena are flowers in the sky. The unreal reveals the real, but both are illusions, since there is nothing real nor unreal. How can there be a subject and an object, for between the two there is no true nature, like the point where two brush bundles meet when set upright, tying and untying from the same cause arise, while the saintly and the worldly are not dual. Consider underlying nature at the point of meeting, where both is and is not cannot be. If you disregard it, you are an illusion. If you awaken to it, you are free at once. 6 knots are untied, one after the other. When 6 are undone, one vanishes as well. Choose a sense organ that is all penetrating to enter the holy stream and attain no lawlessness, since the real yet unreal can create confusion, I have refrained from revealing it to you. If my be set on searching for the find that which at heart is not illusion, becomes illusory if you stop grasping, then there is nothing real. If what is not illusion ceases to arise, where can illusion be? This is the profound lotus Dharma, the precious Bodhi of the royal gem, the samadhi of seeing all things as illusion, within a finger's snap, leads to the state beyond all study. The unsurpassed doctrine was followed by all my thoughts in all directions, on the one path to Dharma leads.
So during our sutra study on Wednesday evening, we touched on a topic, or the Buddha touched on a topic, the topic of karma. So I wanted to give some clarity to what is karma in our Buddhist practice. Karma holds a lot of mysticism in our the Western world's understanding of what it is. Oftentimes it's associated to some kind of cosmic tally of good and bad. But in Buddhism, it has nothing to do with that definition of karma. The Buddha teaches us that karma is simply cause and effect. It is the things that you give energy to will continue to arise. And I think a good way to think about it is like a garden, right? So you have seeds in your garden, and the seeds are thoughts, thoughts that arise. And the seeds that you water are the thoughts that you continue to allow to exist. The seeds that you don't water are those thoughts that you resolve, wipe out of existence. You use your meditative supreme Bodhi practice to um, to diminish those thoughts that are not watered. There are also the seeds that no longer arise because you've diminished them so to the point that they just don't arise anymore. And so, with this analogy of the garden, it's a helpful visual because things that you water will grow. The thoughts that you continue to let exist will continue to arise. They'll come back stronger and more frequently. And that is cause and effect. That is, the energy you put in is the energy that will come back. It'll continue. And so if we look at this from an everyday practice standpoint, for example, a lot of people go through anxiety on Sundays because of work tomorrow. Sundays tend to be a end of the weekend, and I have to wake up early tomorrow. I have to go into work, and my relaxation time is over. And more and more people are expressing that Sunday afternoons that anxiety hits them, and it's a perfect example of this cause and effect, this karma. The only reason that the anxiety arises is because we continue to have thoughts that, oh no, I have to go to work tomorrow. Thoughts of my weekend's almost over. Thoughts of, I have to go to bed early tonight. Relaxation time is done. Survive the week. All of those different thoughts that contribute to, the anxious feeling of going back to work, the fear or disappointment that something fun has ended. If you continue to let those thoughts arise every week, then that anxiety is just going to build, and it's going to become this pattern where every day at 2:00 you're gonna get a knot in your stomach, you're gonna get anxious, you're gonna want time to slow down, and thus that anxiety. And that's cause and effect, right? And so in our effort of supreme Bodhi practice, the aim should be to work on diminishing those thoughts. So when they arise, right, we work to diminish them using supreme Bodhi. And this applies to both positive and negative thoughts. It's any thought, that isn't productive to have. And so what we do in our practice, right, is we have a thought, oh, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. My weekend's almost over. And we use it's kind of a interception, right? So in Buddhism, we can only have one thought at a time. That's one of the cornerstones of our practice is one thought can exist at a time. And then the second cornerstone is that feelings always originate from a thought. So if we can only have one thought at a time, then we can kind of exploit that fact in order to loosen up thoughts that we might have a stronghold, like the anxiety, this buildup of anxiety every Sunday, right? So if we're thinking, oh, my weekend is over, and we're struggling with the feelings of, I don't want my weekend to be over, we can use the things around us, our senses, to loosen that up. So we can say, oh, my weekend is over, I have to get ready for tomorrow. And then we can say, the floor is flat. And then that thought might come up again. The weekend is over. I have to get ready for work. The floor is brown. And what ends up happening is, over time, you notice that when you jump from my weekend is over to the floor is flat, the thought about the weekend being over diminishes as you give rise to the thought about the floor being flat. And it chips away at that thought of that we don't want, the thought of my weekend is over. And eventually you'll find that there is a space where there is no thought that arises or diminishes. And that is what we're cultivating in our practice. And now a lot of times people ask, well, isn't that just trading one thought for another? And no, it's not. And the key distinction here is that you're picking sensory objects that have simple physical attributes that you can name. So it shouldn't be anything that causes any kind of emotional response. It shouldn't be a memory. It should be something physical and a simple attribute like flat, like brown, like smooth, because those thoughts are very easy and not triggering. So once my thoughts about the anxiety subside, then the thoughts about the floor are also easy to let go of as well. And so that's why I call it more of an interception tactic, because we're just trying to intercept the thought. We're trying to intercept the thought that we want to diminish so that we can loosen our grip on it so that we can let it diminish. And that is fully resolving the thought. So what we don't want to do is to try to replace the thought. That's avoidance. So replacing the thought would look like, well, I'm going to try to relieve my anxiety by getting ready for tomorrow. Or at least I had a good weekend. Those do not treat the diminishment of the thought. Those are band-aids, and it's not ultimately going to help stop the arising of that anxiety, stop the arising of the thought. And the really important part about why we're doing this is so that we can choose, so that we're not being dragged around by thoughts that are out of control. And so it's an important skill, because if we hone it and if we really make an effort to use Supreme Bodhi for this purpose, then we can choose. We can choose what we allow to exist, and we can choose what we don't allow to exist. We don't have to be anxious. We don't have to be upset or angry. We don't have to be reliant on the sun being out to have a good day. We can be resilient and flexible and meet the world as it is, instead of having the world needing to be something in order to be happy. And so essentially it comes down to thoughts that you allow to exist will continue to re-arise, and thoughts that you work to diminish will eventually stop arising. And that's it. That's karma. And that is my Dharma talk for today.
Closing up. Metta. Let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly and opportunity is lost. Each of us should strive to awaken. Awaken, take heed, do not squander your life. Offering of merit. May the merit of this penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together can realize the Buddha's way. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, experience supreme Bodhi.
All right, and that concludes our service for today. Thank you for attending, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.